All right. I'll carry on.
Hold on, I want to watch a quick clip of Sean Bean saying bastard.
You want to do that now?
Just want to hear one.
I just want to hear one. There you go.
Good enough.
All right.
That's cool.
Okay. Hello, my little cheese and onion crisps. Welcome to the Football Ramble preview show. Ronaldo versus Messi is over, and England face Ukraine tomorrow. It's Friday, 8th of September. I'm Marcus Speller.
I'm Andy Russell.
I'm Jim Campbell.
And I'm the Vish and Hunter.
My giddy aunt, it's Friday, and doesn't it feel good, Jimmy, baby?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Another scorcher in the kingdom, Andy.
Woo!
Is that all we're getting?
Yep.
Hasn't even had the tenacity, or whatever the word is, to show his
Temerity?
legs off. Temerity to show his legs off today.
You're not really a leg shower, are you?
No, I'm not. Only during sports.
You're not
Only during
deeply
sport- as in, like,
uncomfortable
when you're
in skinny
watching
jeans on a
sports.
day like this.
Yeah. Andy famously whips his kecks off if he's getting particularly excited.
Leon don't score much these days, though, so...
Okay.
The poppers stay popped.
Yeah.
Or unpopped, rather.
Well, before we start, we have exciting news with our fully clothed man, Andy Brassel, at the helm of all this. Andy, you've got a new book out, and it's called We Play On, and it charts Shakhtar Donetsk's extraordinary journey since Ukrainian independence all the way to the present day. And here at The Ramble, we're offering you, good listeners, the chance to win a free copy. Andy, why should people be as excited as you and I are about this book of yours?
Well, clearly, the Shakhtar Donetsk story is fascinating anyway, and what's happened in Ukraine over the last year and a half makes it even more so. But I think the fact is that most football clubs are pretty closed these days. They just give you little snippets of what they're like. Shakhtar let me in. I got to speak to all the people at the club, the players, Dario Serna, the sporting director. They were incredibly open in a way that clubs, especially of a Champions League type level, usually aren't. So you get great insight to the club as well. And it was a fascinating thing to do.
Yeah, what a story as well, as I say, because recent events, of course,
Yeah.
make it fascinating. But even before that, though, the story of the club, and many good players have come through those ranks, particularly Brazilians, of course.
Yes.
Well, to enter for have a chance to win a copy of that book, all you have to do is submit a 5-star review of the show with a comment on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. Then screenshot it and email us at show@footballramble.com with the subject line "book competition." Make sure you got that screenshot. Make sure you've got that subject line. We'll then email the 3 winners next week, and you get your free copy delivered straight to you. So to enter, 5-star review with comment, screenshot, and then email us that. It's as simple as pie. All right, everybody. Last night's action: France 2, Ireland 0. Ireland returned to Paris for a qualifier for the first time since that Thierry Henry handball in 2009. There was no revenge, though, Jim.
There was no revenge, no. It's a difficult brief, though, isn't it? Going to France now, even in a qualifier.
Yeah. Well, Ireland are still in the EU, so it's not as difficult for them.
I see.
That was probably the easiest thing, getting in and out of France. I reckon if they... So, when you to watch the game, if their way of enacting revenge was, right, you're allowed to pick up the ball for the whole of this game, I still think they would have finished on the losing side here.
You reckon?
France was so much better than them.
Yeah,
they were.
I can't believe it was only 2-0.
Yeah, I was really hoping that France just weren't going to be as good as the last World Cup.
They're relentless, though, aren't they?
I know they are. They just churn out talent on an
do.
industrial scale.
Good to see Marcus Thuram get his first goal for France as well. And
It's
they
always
absolutely
nice to have one in
mobbed
there.
him. There's
They
something-
did, yeah.
Something really beautiful about his story, and him, representing his country just as his dad did. He should have had a second one.
He should have.
Just like his dad famously got that time.
Indeed.
But yeah, it was surprising actually to a degree to see that much unity in a national team, particularly the French national team. So that is a worrying sign for all of us that they're going to keep being this good.
But I think the World Cup sort of changed something, Jim, because the fact is they had so many injuries. Everything that could go wrong did go wrong. And it brought that next generation of players on a little bit quicker than they intended, I suppose. And Marcus Thuram is part of that. But it's funny, we talked on OTC yesterday about the fact that, apart from Mbappe and Giroud, none of France's forwards score goals. And as you say, Thuram then got his first one and then showed why that is actually still the case.
Yeah.
And that, they do have a problem. Because if you think medium term, he will probably be the Giroud replacement. He can do all that stuff, all that work that no one but Giroud really gets through.
Yeah, I mean, Giroud is their all-time top scorer. It's easy to forget, isn't it? It's not going to be a simple case to replace him, as bizarre as that does seem in some quarters.
If you're Olivier Giroud and you're the all-time top scorer in the French national team, you're a little bit like, in Back to the Future 2, when Marty McFly has got that kid's hoverboard and Biff Tannen's steaming up behind him in the car. Biff Tannen is Mbappe. I think that's what he knows he's going to get caught at some point.
Yeah, right. The
think,
GQ Guivash.
I don't think he'd be happy with that. Mbappe being compared to Biff Tannen in any kind of scenario.
After everything he's done over the past year and a half, we'll stick it up for him.
I'm sure he'll use it as motivation.
PSG going to cover him in horse manure at some point.
But he gets the almanac in the end, doesn't he?
Yeah, and that's
finally he'll make some money.
And that's how Back to the Future ends, with Biff winning. We all remember that. Chouameni scored a lovely goal, and that's one of those moments.
Flashbacks, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yes, it was very much so. But it was one of those moments, Vish, where Ireland had, they were fairly well organised, sort of quite dogged at the back and whatnot. And you're going to think, well, it's fine. If he wants to shoot from there, and then that happens, and you go, the quality they have is undeniable.
Yeah. Well, so Ireland have this thing recently where they keep conceding from range. And in that moment, I was like, right, there are two defenders on the guy on the guy who gets the ball on the edge of the box, which means when he lays it off, Chouameni has the opportunity basically to run onto it, side foot it in, use a couple of defenders as guides to get it around them. And I saw it the first time, and I was like, God, he's got a bit too much space. Does that bloke really need? Do they really need two players on that person? And then obviously with the replay and the close up, that person is Kylian Mbappe, and you're like, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
It's entirely fair enough.
It is.
Don't show him onto your right foot, but someone else is going to move on to their favoured foot and eventually score. It was a hell of a strike.
Well, it was. I mean, Bazunu in goal. People, as you said, people have said, he's been beaten from range a few times playing for Ireland.
What can you do with that?
It's like, well, there's another one.
Well, he had a decent save in the second half from range as well.
He did, yeah. But I mean, look, as you said, Jimmy, it's a tall order. France are superb, and I and other people have been talking up England, but France will be the favourites, Andy, going into the Euros, surely.
Well, they've got the best squad of players, but they've not got.
And that's why they'll be favourites.
They've not got the best squad of players by a million miles. So
just 500,000 miles.
England are properly in the mix.
Yeah.
Did you see who
I love it, though. They've probably got the best squad, but not by a million miles. But they're still going to be the favourites for the tournament. They're still the team to beat in Europe.
Yeah, but you would say slight favourites rather than heavy favourites.
Still using the word favourites, aren't you, brother? Okay, that's a win for me.
What would have been interesting is to see Evan Ferguson have a little go at them last night, and especially as we've
seen. I don't think that would have made a blindest bit of difference.
Well, it might have made it slightly competitive, because if you think Dio Upamecano, he 75% of the time he plays like a prince, and then the rest of the time he can really, really be got at. If you think what Harry Kane did to him in the quarter-final in the World Cup.
Not enough. Evidently. But no, I take your point.
But we're talking about making it competitive, aren't we?
Did you see who they brought on last night?
Yeah.
Pavard, Camavinga, Thuram, as we mentioned, Saliba and Kingsley Coman. They brought them on for a laugh.
Yeah, but they're only slight favourites, though.
Yeah. I do worry about Chouameni, and we end up in a situation where Harry Maguire is still in the starting lineup through whatever reason, and he's just a deflection post, isn't he? Just keep smacking it as hard as you can in that direction. It will come off one of his angles eventually.
Chouameni, he's not Frank Lampard, Jim. He very much scores without deflections.
You've neglected your England duties actually here, Marcus, because what you should have pointed out is the fact that Jude Bellingham becoming King of Madrid.
Yeah, Jude Bellingham's the best player ever.
Going to push Chouameni out the picture. He's not been starting this season so far for Real Madrid. So he turn up at the Euros, out of Nick, Jude wins it. There you go.
There we are. Well, we're going to talk about England in the second half. So we're back to Ireland, because losing this game obviously was to be expected, but they're struggling at the moment. They need to beat Ronald Koeman's Netherlands, really, to kind of stay in the mix. They host the Dutch on Sunday, of course. And if they win, they'd be level on points with them. And it is a much more winnable game, of course.
Netherlands look good as well, though.
Well, yeah, that's annoying, because the Netherlands haven't been brilliant in the last few years, but they're beginning to find their feet under old Ronnie K.
They always seem to be in Ireland's way as well. Like so often.
That's true.
In international football, it's been the Dutch that they've come up against and just fallen short with.
Well, they beat them, of course, in 2001, was it, for qualification in 2002? A long time ago it was, Jim. But the 10-man of Ireland still beat the Dutch that day.
There is a story
Lou Van
of
Gaal
history
in charge,
between
of course,
them two.
yeah. at the time.
They are. I think you're right. They look like they're quite close to being something special, don't they? You feel like they are maybe a top-class striker coming through away from maybe not challenging deep into tournaments, but certainly being a contender and certainly being what we generally expect of the Dutch.
They've got names in that side. There's no two ways about
also,
it.
with Cody Gakpo and Xavi Simons, who I think is going to be a superstar coming through, they've got some incredible talent.
Yeah,
and it's quite exciting.
You take away Xavi Simons though, and I do think they look like a good Burnley side.
Because of Weghorst.
Yeah, you're literally saying that because of
Weghorst. No, the goals were all free kicks, corners, crosses, second balls.
Do they not count, Andy?
They're not Dutch goals.
Do they not count?
They're not Dutch goals.
Unbelievable.
The thing is, you say
you
that.
Are getting
you
sucked
say
in,
that.
Oh,
you
my
say
goodness.
that.
Yeah, I do say that.
You say that. But in the Netherlands, that is genuinely a discussion.
Well,
is this an appropriate form of football?
Do you want them to score sexually promiscuous goals? Is that it?
So
is this too missionary for you, this Dutch team? Fine.
Yeah, that's it.
All right.
You're saying that
I'm glad you're having your Friday night and I'm having my Friday night.
It's not total goals, is what Andy's saying.
Yeah.
So they're underdogs, but they're, how do you say, big underdogs?
Yeah, that's exactly what he's saying. Andy, come on. Look, we know that the Netherlands is one of those footballing nations to talk about style and ideology relentlessly, maybe more than any other nation. So they'd certainly be up there.
There is a certain deliciousness in the Netherlands turning into England and England turning into the Netherlands, isn't there?
Yeah, I don't know if we've gone that far, but yeah, I know what you mean. But I back Koeman, as you know, and I think he's got them going. It'd be a great game though, that one. On Sunday in Ireland, so all eyes on that, certainly. France under-21s, Andy Brassel, started with a 4-1 win against Denmark under-21s. Thierry Henry in charge, getting off to a good start.
Yeah, pretty good.
What do you reckon?
Pretty good, yeah.
How is Thierry Henry thought of in France? Do they think he's a bit of a prat as well?
I think you're the only person alive who thinks he's a bit of a prat.
What I was going to say,
which is
you're the only
it's a boomerang opinion.
You're the only person, literally where we are now in the world, in North London, who thinks Thierry Henry is a prat.
I'm sure there's plenty of others in North London.
Yeah, and a lot of them wear white.
That's fine, you know.
Not Test cricketers.
No, as I said, I've been put correct on that opinion. But his man management style has been in question at times in his previous roles and so on. Under 21s, man management is a big part of it. What's his? How do people view him in that role in France?
This is something that makes better sense for him.
Okay.
I think, because he's got players of a certain level. The talent he's got at his fingertips is unquestionable, and all those players still just about, mainly because senior colleagues talk about them and parents talk about him all the time, absolutely love him.
But does he dine out on that a bit too much, do you think? Because that's not enough.
No, I don't think he does dine out on that, because he's actually fairly learned about the game. And I think because he's got such an aura, people don't really appreciate that. Like, his coaching career has been very varied so far, but it's clearly about finding the right job. The way he's embraced it is something that people really love. I mean, people love him in France anyway, but I think the fact that on the first day he turned up and he gave Didier Deschamps a massive hug and he's like, oh, you can't refuse France, this is such an honour, and all the rest of it. If you have like a player of a similar status taking the England under-21 job, I don't think they speak about it in such a glowing way as if I'm so lucky to be here.
Yeah,
especially someone of that stature.
Well, I mean, the tradition of the French national side and the age cap groups is
it's a massive deal.
Has been enormous.
Yeah,
and obviously England's doing very well to try and sort of emulate that in some degree, but they are the gold standard.
Yeah, it's very England in that. Certainly England on the Southgate, which I think we spoke about a week ago, or actually maybe earlier this week, about how you need to basically fuse that together so that it lives beyond Southgate. And France have clearly had that, in part because their kids are so good that it's just been a proper step up rather than, or rather, it's almost like you move on to them rather than need that bridging period in between.
I think in this country, we don't need flashy things. You know, we've got Lee Carsley in there, won the Euros under 21s. They need to copy us.
So they need their Lee Carsley?
Yeah.
Who is that? Anton Sibierski?
Go on then. Good one.
Bald.
Get him in there. Exactly. Get yourself an egg.
Oeuf.
If we Frank LeBeouf, there you go.
Yeah, there you go. We've done it.
All covered. And it's just, I mean, if you will, before we move on from France and Ireland, staying with Irish things, an enjoyable headline from the other day, by the way, which is an update from the story from the Emirates last weekend. Fan accused of headbutting Roy Keane was Arsenal supporter who broke own nose. You know what you see?
I mean, to be an Arsenal supporter who had a really bad day on that Sunday, you really have to go some. And this guy has nailed that.
He's needs to reassess a lot of things, this chap,
Yes.
quite frankly, and it would appear he's got time to do so.
It is also nice to have confirmation that Roy Keane is as cartoonishly tough as we think he is.
Indeed. Gentlemen, let's turn our attention to Northern Ireland. They lost 4-2 to Slovenia away from home. And Michael O'Neill has admitted that their chances of qualifying are over. They've only got 3 points from 5 games, and he said, I'm not going to stand here and say it's mathematically still possible. He said, even if we win our next 5 games, you know, we would still need results to go away, blah, 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 blah. And it's a shame, Jim, considering the fine work he's done. But with the injuries that they've had, the very small pool of talent in terms of population they've got, it's not too surprising if they have a campaign or two like this.
Of course, it's always, as well, the way Northern Ireland approach things is they try and be tough to beat, essentially, and nick every single game 1-0, really, realistically, apart from when they're up against tiny nations and they flex a little bit more. And that in itself it's a grind, isn't it? It's a relentlessly difficult way to play, especially if you don't have a lot of time to spend with the squad and organise that type of football. And as you say, this sort of thing is inevitable every now and then. And you know, Slovenia have some pretty decent forwards as well. Benjamin Sesko in particular.
Some really good players.
Looks like he's going to be
and that makes a huge difference for a team like Slovenia, you know, against teams like Northern Ireland, you go into that, you think, well, okay, as you say, you maybe nick something. You put an RB Leipzig forward in there, and it makes all the difference.
There's a massive quality gap.
Well, there is, but also it is testament to the work Michael O'Neill and Northern Ireland have done over the years for us to think, oh, blimey, they're out already.
Yeah.
Because again, like it's not too surprising, but it was enjoyable to see Manchester United man Johnny Evans, Vish, with a nice little silky touch to set him up for a lovely deflected goal.
Yeah, also I felt a bit bad that it's the second time in a week he has had the ball deflect off him into the near post past his goalkeeper.
Yeah, that also happened.
Which was unfortunate. But
he got one
lovely
himself,
touch. It was a lovely touch.
It was.
I had to rewatch it because he takes the touch with his left foot kind of at about hip level, having kind of contorted it one way. I didn't know people his age could do that.
It's Bergkamp-esque, is that what we're saying?
Well, it just
He's
like
only
kind of,
35.
I know, but still. But he's got a lot. There's a lot of football in them hips.
Yeah.
Right.
A lot of miles on the clock.
Yeah.
And what did Shakira tell us?
Yeah.
many things.
Hips
Hips and jam don't lie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've always thought he was
the
local.
most truthful part of the body.
Okay, right.
That's what I did for PK.
So you're just saying it was nice to see him get a run out, the old man.
Yeah. In a way. Paddy
Yeah.
McNair's still there as well. Love it.
I have to say, I can't believe the defender tried to block that shot, though. It's like when
ruined it.
It's like
Yeah.
when Ryan Shawcross tried to clear Ibrahimovic's overhead kick
That
off
made
the
it
line.
better. That made it better.
It did
though.
make it better.
Because he ended up looking like a fish caught in a net.
Indeed. And also, when a goalkeeper dives for a shot and it goes in, sometimes it looks better than
You
just
need it for the
absolutely-
aesthetics, don't you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
There was no stopping Ibrahimovic that day.
I would say though, Northern Ireland's reaction to the first goal, to going a goal down, was brilliant. Like,
was.
McMenamin's cross with the outside of his foot, and
Yeah.
you know the way it was finished by Price.
Yeah,
Like,
well,
that was a really good move.
Yeah.
And yeah, obviously they
Well, I
couldn't
think-
really build on it.
I think they're positives. I mean, Price's first international goal, he looked absolutely delighted. Of course, they created chances. Slovenia were far more clinical, but as I say, when you've got a forward line like theirs, that's going to count. I think, as O'Neill said, they've just got to finish as high as possible now for seeding purposes and whatnot. Dust yourselves off. It's a young team, and they go again. But it's just such a shame that it's over so quickly. But as I say, you know, by the law of averages, it's not hugely surprising. But Finland went top of that group after beating Kazakhstan 1-0. A player called Oliver Antman scored the only goal.
Going to be a big player for them. And
Very-
then a small player.
There you go, you see. But he's a tough worker, Jim. He's a little soldier in there. Gentlemen, let's move on to Wales. They drew 0-0 with South Korea in a friendly match. And Rob Page said after this dull 0-0 stalemate, I said I didn't want to play it. Well, there you are. So teams who have an odd number of teams in their groups for European qualification have to fulfill a friendly fixture when other teams in the group are playing. That's according to UEFA. So they had to play a friendly, and that's why Rob Page was like, we don't want to do it. We're worried about injuries. And it's funny, actually, because you think managers would want to get the extra fixture just to sort of try players and whatnot. But old Page was no interest.
I think it's a strange attitude towards it, to be honest. And obviously, he has more insight into what their needs are. And this injury situation is, of course, something he, again, has got better insight into. But like you say, you don't get a lot of time with these players. You don't get a lot of opportunities to test things out in a competitive environment. Surely having a friendly against a good side a few days before a qualifier,
a home one as well,
can be really, really useful. It's all about the approach, surely.
Well, I mean, this was the feeling was obviously reciprocated among the Wales fans. There was only 13,000 there. I think it was their lowest attendance for a game in about 4 or 5 years. So
and that feels weird because you expect Wales home games to be absolutely rocking, especially at the Cardiff City Stadium, don't you?
Yeah. On the South Korea side of the ledger, things are quite interesting as well. I'd totally forgotten that Jürgen Klinsmann was in charge, and I think a lot of them had forgotten that as well.
And maybe him.
Yeah, well, there you go, because his first press conference as South Korea was 6 months ago. He's been in the job 6 months. He suggested he would live in South Korea, because we know he does living in California, and a lot of people do. I don't blame him for that.
It's interesting to me that the wording of that, it's not as if he said he would live in South Korea, but he suggested he would live in South Korea when he took the job.
Well, apparently
even then, non-committal.
Indeed. Well, he's spent 67 days in the country since then, people have worked out. So, look, again, a lot of people like living in California, but the majority of those people also work in
the
California.
industry.
I love that Jürgen Klinsmann lives in LA. It's so big time, isn't it? So has he got a dream that he hasn't quite given up on, that he's going to become a Hollywood leading man?
I'd like to think so. Well, this little paragraph from the BBC sums it up nicely. Klinsmann, whose assistants have been attending games, held a press conference back in August with Korean reporters on Zoom from his Los Angeles home to address the concerns.
That is a magnificent sentence.
Still talk, look.
To address the concerns.
Yeah.
I mean, I know what you're saying. The implication is that Klinsmann is doing this over the phone, is goofing off. It's like Gus Hiddink in charge of Turkey, whatever. But the fact is, Jürgen Klinsmann has a great work ethic, because you remember in that short and, let's be honest, disastrous spell in charge of Hertha Berlin, the reason he was sacked is he went in to see the sporting director and he said, you know what, I think you should quit your job and I should have your job as well as being the coach.
Is that right?
And that ended in him not having his job anymore.
Blimey.
Well, been reading the wrong motivational books.
I mean,
hasn't he?
even when he managed Germany, the country where he's from, he still did it from Los Angeles.
Yeah.
So I don't know why everyone thought that, or he even thought that he might move to South Korea. It's not him. It's not his bag. He did say though, because it's a bit of a difficult start. I think he haven't won a game, and there's concerns, and Asia Cup isn't too far away and whatnot. And Klinsmann said it's a big learning curve for me too, but hopefully I'm a great learner. Let's hope so too, Jürgen. You'd have thought
you'd know by now.
Yeah, he's of age, isn't he?
If considering the number of mistakes he's made in his managerial career. He should have learned a bit more now.
Should have learned.
They're not mistakes, they're learning experiences.
That's right. Hey, they got a credible draw away to Wales.
Yeah, he was there, right?
No idea.
He wasn't just
we don't
phoned
know.
in on an iPad from a cinema.
Because
I
you
quite
might
rate the
remember when the grounds were shut. Wimbledon had cardboard cutouts. I had my own cardboard cutout in my seat.
Yeah,
so maybe that's what Klinsey did.
I think actually there was a VAR call and the ref went over and he turned on the monitor and it was Jürgen. He's like, "Oh right, I'll give you my views." Well, anyway,
you're on mute.
Nah, it's not a penalty. All right, fair enough. The friendly, of course, that we've all been waiting for is tonight. And it's happening here in England. Saudi Arabia versus Costa Rica. The first of Saudi Arabia's 2 games at St. James's Park, because they also play Jürgen Klinsmann's South Korea on Tuesday. We're very lucky that some national teams want to play their friendlies here. We've seen Brazil do it a number of times at the Emirates, at Craven Cottage even. We've seen the likes of Ghana as well. Craven Cottage is quite interesting how many national teams play there. I mean, we saw
Loftus Road as well.
Loftus Road
is another one, of course. But I mean, in London, though, you have so many people from so many nations. You're always going to get people turn up, of course, and whatnot. So I think Newcastle have done phenomenally well to have presumably bid and had their bid accepted among a myriad of bids to get Saudi Arabia to play their friendlies there.
To be fair, it does make a lot of sense when you consider the amount of people in the last year who certainly I've seen in the crowd at St James's Park in traditional Saudi headwear.
That's right. Well, it appears there's a big support for them there. Andy, are you going?
No, I'm not.
Oh,
Despite
protest?
the fact it's only a £5 to get in.
Is it really?
Yeah.
God, blimey.
Where are our proceeds going? by the way? Does anyone know?
I have no idea. Right, everybody. Let us finish this half by saying that Cristiano Ronaldo has declared that his rivalry with Lionel Messi is officially over.
Lionel Messi has got an opportunity to do something very funny now. No, it isn't, mate. I'm banging him in a way better league, actually.
As our very own
loser. Sounds like loser talk to me.
As our very own Luke Moore said, it was officially over when Lionel Messi lifted the World Cup.
The full quotes from Ronaldo are great because he actually starts. Bear in mind with Ronaldo, the bar is on the floor. He actually starts quite magnanimous because he talks about how it was always unnecessary for fans of his to hate Messi and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then he goes, from what I've seen, he's been doing really well, and so have I.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it's over.
No. He is better. He's in a place where he actually wants to. He chose to be there.
That's right.
Because more than once he wanted him.
Yeah.
He's living his best. Celebs are turning up en masse to watch him.
Yeah.
And he's not got one of them touchline bodyguards either, has he, Ronaldo?
Yeah.
No.
And did you see that Messi in Argentina's World Cup qualifier was taken off in the 89th minute? It's the first time he's been subbed in a game that he's started before the end of 90 minutes since the World Cup in 2014.
How about that?
Wow.
Was that for innovation, presumably?
Well, he felt a little something,
right?
Scaloni said, but obviously it created that situation as well, which obviously people lapped up.
Well, I think Ronaldo's also saying this because he was left off this week's Ballon d'Or shortlist for the first time since 2003. Messi's still in there though.
Yeah.
When he says the rivalry's over, because you've been left behind. Bukayo Saka, Harry Kane, and Jude Bellingham made the list for the men's award, of course. Come on,
coming home.
There's your top three.
Exactly. In any order, don't mind.
Yeah.
Just give it.
So there we are. All right, everybody, let's have a quick break.
We won fight. Can I finish speaking? Are you going to interrupt? Can I finish speaking? Okay, because I don't interrupt your question. Okay, so don't interrupt mine. Show some fucking respect. So, sorry for the language. Sorry, what was the question? Ask me the question again.
Welcome back to the Football Ramble, everybody. Fizzer there when he was Inter Miami manager, distinctly before Lionel Messi joined the club. Now, let us turn our attentions to Old England. Ukraine versus England on Saturday at 5 p.m. In Poland, of course, England are top of Group C after 4 wins from 4, with Ukraine behind them in second. England beat Ukraine 2-0 at Wembley in March. I was there, Jim Campbell.
You saw it.
You can't take that away from me. Bukayo Saka scored a great goal. Gareth Southgate's biggest headache seems to be who will play alongside Harry Maguire in the centre of defence for this one. And there was, will start Maguire? He'll start Maguire. He will.
I mean, his biggest headache is the bloke who's starting next to the player who's given everyone the biggest headache for the last year. Yeah,
so long term, it'll be who partners John Stones, but for this game,
yeah,
it'll be who partners Harry Maguire.
Who partners the headache.
Exactly, yeah. And this is, look, I think this is a good opportunity to put someone in there in what will be a very cauldron-like atmosphere, an important away qualifier. England, of course, will be favourites to win, of course. But the reason why I play Maguire is because he, lest we forget, even though it's a game England should win, you want to make sure you do, and you want to make sure you put in a good performance. And I think Southgate wants that experience. And I know everyone says, Maguire shouldn't be there and so on. Yeah, look, I totally get it. But on the other hand, with Mings out, with Stones out, you've got Colwill, Levy Colwill in there, Mark Gay, Lewis
It's a good
Dunk.
future, isn't it? Yeah.
I mean, Lewis Dunk wouldn't be one for the future, perhaps, but he's done so well, Lewis Dunk. Tomori, yes, sorry, I'm forgetting Tomori. So, I get it why he's starting Maguire. It's just for the here and now, and you would hope as time goes on. But I think you've got to play someone. He will play someone who hasn't got a huge amount of experience, but there's a little bit of experience with some of those centre halves. Tomori has played for England before, and then against Scotland, even though it's a game you want to win, although it's a friendly and so on, Southgate's aware of how the fans are. You want to lose that game. I think you could play, I don't know, whether it be a Duncan Tomori, for example, something like that. So, Vish, who would you fancy in there? Well, I'm assuming Maguire starts. I mean, if you don't agree with that, then please say. But who would you like to see in there?
So you doing the back three?
No, he'd be back four.
Yeah, right. So I mean, I would put Tomori there.
Next to Maguire.
Yeah, I quite like that. I like the idea that it takes a bit of the ball playing load away from Maguire. He probably wouldn't have to step out as much for someone who's as comfortable on the ball.
But that's half reality, half what I would like to see, isn't it? Because ideally, I know it's your choice. That's fine. But
I mean, I have sort of backed you into a Maguire corner there.
Southgate's just not really that into him, is he?
What,
Tomori?
I don't know.
I don't think he'd pick him if he wasn't that into him. I know obviously there are availability issues with other players that he might pick, but I think there is an idea about Southgate that he doesn't like certain players, and I think if he doesn't like them, he doesn't pick them. Ben White being a great example of that for whatever reason. And I don't know. I think they're all there on merit, and that they're all there with an eye on having a future essentially in the squad.
If we're just to because we veered into like what I would want to happen.
Yeah.
I want to move a bit further forward on the pitch because I want to see a midfield three of Declan Rice, Jude Bellingham, and Eze.
Ooh,
because
nice.
it'd just be fucking fun.
Yeah.
And also then you can play Maddison on the left because Eze and him can switch. And
that's very interesting. And you'll just not have Phil Foden in there. And
well, no, Foden can come off the bench.
Can he?
He can if he wants to do that. Only if he wants to.
Only if he wants to. Well, I think with regards to the midfield, obviously Rice and Bellingham have got those two positions nailed down because Rice is the best England player and one of two, as Southgate says, and I agree with him, who can play in that role. Bellingham is currently the best player in the world. All right, and he is, isn't he? Yeah,
pretty close.
There you go.
That's what they're saying in Europe.
Yeah. No, he has been magnificent.
That's what they're saying in Madrid.
Give us a quick skinny on what's going on at Madrid because it is ludicrously good how he started.
Well,
there.
yeah, we talked about it in Ask OTC this week. The fact that he is someone who he's not just playing brilliantly. He's absolutely got all of Madrid and all of Spain eating out of his hand.
It's utterly incredible.
In a way that, for example, Cristiano Ronaldo could never manage. Despite he never got that sort of love that Bellingham has had from the Madrid fans, despite the fact that for 9 years he scored more than a goal a game.
And he turns up there, he's like, give me the number 5 shirt, which is Zidane's shirt. I mean, it's remarkable.
Yeah.
When was the last time we all felt like this about a teenager?
Good question.
Yeah.
Well,
Careful, Vish.
The thing about Spain, I don't think I realised the cut through until Carlos Alcaraz, when he won his US Open quarterfinal, celebrated in a way that people normally celebrate.
Yeah.
And it turns out he was mimicking Jude Bellingham's celebration.
Whether
he was at the time or not, he certainly tweeted the photo out and tagged in Jude Bellingham. And
As a man
mate, you've just won Wimbledon. What are you doing?
As a man of the bat, do you think though that Bellingham is imitating Flintoff
I think he's
from
imitating
2005?
Yeah, or maybe Stokes from Headingley 2019.
Yes.
I'd like to think so. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So the circumstances of it are quite bizarre, aren't they? Because Real Madrid's first 3 games of the season were away games. I think he scored in all of them.
He did.
Then he scores a late winner in their first game at the Bernabeu of the season that raises his arms out wide, and it really does feel like him just going like, "This is my kingdom now."
Oh, it is. And they're all lapping it up.
Absolutely incredible.
I think
the
they're all-
charisma of it.
Yeah. When he did the first one, when he scored away, Athletic Bilbao, to set the context, a massively atmospheric stadium where everyone in it hates Real Madrid, and there are basically no away fans. And he stretches his arms out in front of these players, and the 2 most experienced players from Athletic, Iñaki Williams and Ika Munyain, come up to him and go, "You can't fucking do that." He's like, "Well, I am doing it."
Yeah.
So
honestly, he's going to win us the Euros. But yeah, well, it's funny actually because that midfield that you said there, Vish, I'd like to see Maddison actually instead of Eze because of how he plays.
We can
for
play.
Spurs.
We can play 4 in the middle then.
We can play them all.
Yeah.
All the fun ones.
All
the fun ones.
All the fun ones. I think again, Kane and Saka, their positions are nailed down.
I don't know if Kane gets back in now and Nketiah's in the squad.
That's a fair point. All joking aside, I would like to see Nketiah get some minutes.
Yeah.
But yeah, we shall see. But
imagine if Southgate went, look, obviously Kane, he is our captain, but he's moved to a lesser league.
Yeah.
And he's really got Hendo come in, but Kane has moved to a lesser league. It's easy to score goals, and Nketiah's starting in the Premier League. You can't say no to that.
Yeah, there you are. But so I think those positions are nailed down, and then I think I don't think Rashford will maybe start, but I think you could have Foden on that left side and Maddison switching.
Do you remember when there wasn't a left-footed English footballer in the world?
Yeah.
And then we got
how far we've come.
Not even at our level.
And they happen to be two of the most technically proficient midfielders we have, which is actually saying something given the midfielders we
it's
have.
Like the Waddle and Barnes era all over again.
Oh, yeah. Would you like to see Maddison playing? Andy,
I thought you were going to say Waddle or Barnes. I would love that.
But especially after Maddison said that when he goes for a roast dinner with his family, he likes to be the main man. I mean, strange quote, but shows you the charisma and the chutzpah.
It is a little bit strange. Imagine going into a restaurant for a roast dinner and going to the waiter. No, I'm carving this, mate.
Yeah, or maybe saying, "Is this the table? I'm going to need a throne."
Or just walking in and be like, "I'm Toby Carvery now."
I think you're right, Marcus. You've got to capitalise on the fact that he's just feeling in great form at the moment. It would be a crime against football if he didn't start this game.
Yeah, he started so well, but also you've always got to look at club level and what they're doing, because Maddison, I think we thought, is he just in that number 10 role, or is he just off the flank and so on? You look at how he's playing under Postecoglou. It's those kind of little things you see at club level, and the way Foden plays for Man City. He wants to play more inside. Those two can switch it up and so on. You've got to take advantage of that. The only thing, just very quickly harking back to the defence, and I talked about Maguire. It's actually, you just talk about, you want a player to kind of be more comfortable on the ball and so on. Well, that kind of more traditional English centre half, you could really have Lewis Dunk playing that, because Dunk, you see how he's playing under De Zerbi.
Yeah.
It was quite funny, the comments and quotes that he came out with. He said, for the first few weeks, I was just totally confused.
Yeah.
He's talking through a translator, which obviously doesn't help hugely if you've got a lot of information to give. And he said the way they were playing, and now, I mean, you can see how well he's doing.
Challenge exceptionally, isn't he? He looks like a sort of elite ball playing centre.
It's kind of a shame for him he's not 5 years younger.
Absolutely, yeah. But I think actually with the qualities that he's shown and the experience he has, he's essentially peaking at a really good time for Southgate, which is why I would like to see Lewis Dunk and maybe either Mark Gahey or Levi Colwill start together. I know it's a bit risky to in Southgate's kind of mind, I would imagine fairly risky to start players who are unfamiliar with each other and don't have a lot of England experience. But Dunk has a lot of experience. Both the players I mentioned previously are, they're top level footballers. I think we have to give them some credit, and they need to gain experience at some point, right? Yeah. These guys are the future. Like I say with Dunk, he could be incredibly, incredibly valuable in the Euros if we bed him in now. It will be a one tournament thing, but it's a good opportunity to try and get that in your locker.
It's an interesting suggestion, actually, Colwill and Dunk, because you can talk about players who know each other. I think that's really important. If obviously they've played together, if you can transplant working bits of club teams into international teams, that's always the most helpful thing, isn't it? Really.
And the thing about Dunk, off the back of Jim's point, is that because of how he has progressed through different managers at Brighton and played different ways, he's clearly someone. If you apply the macro logic into a micro sense, he's clearly someone who's just good at adapting, and so can work with whoever you put next to him. So. Yeah, why not put it to the test?
I used to love going to macro as a kid.
Macro?
Yeah.
What's
You're too young, man. Rest in peace. Staying with English centre-halves, or a former English centre-half, if you will, John Terry apparently is set to join the Saudi Pro League after verbally agreeing to become Al-Shabaab's manager. Of course he has.
Yeah.
Just needs managerial experience, Jim.
It's a lovely old job for him, isn't it? He's going to have a brilliant time out there.
It is, yeah. He spends a lot of time in Dubai, apparently, on the golf courses and whatnot, so I hear.
God, that is the most predictable thing you could ever say. You didn't even need to tell me that, and I would know it.
The golf or him going to Saudi?
That he would spend his time, in one of the most vacuous places on earth, playing one of the most vacuous sports.
Was it more predictable than Neymar going to Saudi Arabia?
It was. Yeah, Terry playing golf, taking a selfie with whoever.
Salt Bay.
Yeah,
Salt Bay.
yeah. But now, John Terry going to Salt Bay's restaurant now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
well, good luck to him. There we are.
We're just happy to see an English manager getting a chance.
Well, yeah, I'm just happy to see him leave the country.
When's Lamps going?
In due course, Andy.
He is fighting the urge, isn't he? He's like, no, one last job
Is,
here.
is he fighting the urge, or has he just not had the offer?
I honestly think he probably wants to
Presumably,
have another go here.
presumably he's staying because Gerrard went.
There you go. One stays, one goes. Oh dear. It depends though, doesn't it? If Owen Hargreaves or Nicky Butt get a job here, does that mean he can?
They
go?
can anchor. Yeah, good point.
Okay,
Yeah,
there we are.
Yeah.
There we are. Right, so let's go back to the Euro qualifiers. Cyprus versus Scotland tonight. It's a big one, of course. Football can bite you on the bum was the message Stevie Clarke gave in his press conference. Jim, what do you think? Are Scotland going to get bit on the bot?
No, I don't think they're going to get bit on the bot. I think they're going to win. They probably need 5 points from 4 games to qualify, to get out of their group. It's absolutely imperative that they get 3 tonight. They are away, but they are away in Cyprus. They've got enough to win that game, and they need to do it. It's like, it is brilliant stuff from Scotland at the moment to be leading that group so comprehensively, especially with Spain in the group. I know Spain have only played twice, but they did beat them. Yeah. It's brilliant. It's a great opportunity, and they've consistently been qualifying for tournaments, and it's excellent.
I mean, for this one, the win
qualifying. I mean, that's
I mean, they're at the Euros.
Yeah,
they're going to qualify for this one.
Okay,
that's what I mean. It's
all right. But for this one, the win in Oslo is the game changer, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the pivotal point in the group, and the
manner of the win as well.
Yeah,
it's
totally.
It's huge. I mean,
clinical.
Cyprus manager Tamori Ketspire, always lovely to hear his name. He believes that Scotland have already qualified, and that is a mind game. But Scotland have won all 4 of their European qualifiers for the first time ever. They're 8 points clear. 8 points clear, Scottish people, at the top of Group A. So it is great stuff. It really, really is. And they've got a chance here to really move ahead, because Spain are playing Georgia. And reportedly, the Spanish FA has lost the trunk that contained all the players' boots and goalkeeping gloves. So there's a real chance that Georgia could cause an upset there.
I think you look at previous Spanish teams and you think, yeah, they could win playing barefoot. Not this one.
I remember when Ander Herrera was on holiday in Spain. This is when he was playing for United. He was on holiday in Spain, and Spain had an injury in the international break, and they called him up, but he hadn't taken his boots with him, so he went into like a local Adidas shop and bought them. Obviously, it's harder to do that for the whole squad.
Yeah.
Not impossible, though.
No, but I suppose you've got to be pernickety with boot sponsors, don't you? Like, you can't just go in and get a load of Adidas boots, because some of them will be Nike or
Polish
whatever.
over them. That's what they used to do. I don't know if they still do that.
With your Solskjaer 99.
Did he do that?
Winning goal, yeah. Was blacked out football boots.
There you
'cause
go.
he was in
Or
between sponsors,
alternatively, you could put your boots in grow bags, a bit like Richard E. Grant in Withnell and I when he's going out looking for potatoes.
I don't know what that's all about, but I like the sound of it, Andy. Okay, well, Spain have just got to channel the sort of energy and vibe of Richard E. Grant, and they should be okay, is the takeaway there. But you would fancy Spain to win that one, of course. But even if they do, the Scots are untouchable. They've already qualified. Start celebrating now, Scottish people.
Dean Smith also says you're an encyclopedia of football.
A what?
An encyclopedia of football.
I don't know what that means.
I do. Oh, I love being in the chair for this. Hooray!
Hooray!
Oh, you know what it's all about.
I love you
ladies
being
and
in the chair
gents.
too, Andy.
Yay.
A little bit of cozying up. That will definitely work in your favour. You know what Jack's encyclopedia is about. It's a simple game of categories. I give you all a category, and all you have to do is give me an answer that fits into that category. But if you're going too slow, I'll play Gary Neville's Goalgasm, which will leave you 7 seconds. I've petitioned for Yusa and Dor to
That's
step
my
in
bottle of water.
for...
He was
Right, that's not going to work in your favour.
Stop interrupting, Andy.
Marcus is trying to steal my bottle of water because he knows I need fluids.
Anyway, category 1.
Okay.
It's all very internationally this week.
It is, yeah.
International teams Harry Kane has scored against. There are 27 countries
Flipping Nora.
that he has scored against. We're going to start with Jim and go round in a circle. So, Jim, please kick us off.
France.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Germany.
Good one. Senegal.
All good pace. I like it.
Panama.
Poland, probably.
The nonchalance.
Indeed. Tunisia.
Sweden.
Ooh.
Oh no! Let me down again.
See you later, bruv.
San Marino.
Must be. Italy.
Wales.
Ooh.
No, Wales.
Poor.
Right, to get the point, Marcus.
Colombia. Could have had Denmark.
Ooh, he's doing a little wheelie
Salty.
up the front there. So the other ones you could have had were Albania, Andorra, Croatia, Czech Republic, Denmark, as Marcus said, Hungary, Kosovo, Lithuania, Malta, Montenegro, Nigeria, North Macedonia, Scotland, Slovenia, Switzerland, which is what I thought was on the tip of Jim's tongue, Turkey, and Ukraine. Apparently, he scored against Turkey. Anyway, next.
Probably a consolation goal. Wasn't it?
Yeah, props. Yeah. Right. The next category, Vish is going to take us out the gate. Listen very carefully.
Here we go.
God,
I'm one of those.
I didn't write this. I just want you to know. The top 18 all-time goal scorers for Scotland who were born in 1940 or later.
Flipping Nora. Okay, like that, is it?
So yeah, just say that. Yeah,
Annie McCoist.
yeah. Thanks, Vish.
Kenny Dalglish.
Graham Souness.
Ooh, Graham. Come on, Graham.
Say it to his face.
Yeah.
Archie Gemmill.
It's just it's fair.
You know
They've not
what?
had many big scorers.
On a part, I was very close to saying Rabsy Nesbitt.
Wonderful reference, Seth.
I will give
Kenny
you a correct for
Miller.
that.
Kenny Miller, surely.
Yeah.
Gordon Jury.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, that's a great guess.
Oh,
Really?
Mo Johnson.
Marcus
Yeah.
Speller wins.
International football, baby.
Yeah, you're all over it, aren't you?
Yeah.
So you picked Marcus's favourite thing in international football. You then picked England, and then the country he grew up in.
Yeah, I should apologise for winning that, shouldn't I?
Yeah,
Go on
there you go.
Terrible winner.
The other ones you could have
But
had.
I won't.
Andy Gray,
Andy Gray.
Colin Steen, Dennis Law, James McFadden, Joe Jordan, John Collins, John McGinn.
John Collins.
John McGinn? How's he up there?
16.
What a joke of a
16
country.
goals.
Yeah.
John Robertson, Kevin Gallagher, Lyndon Dykes,
Come on!
Paul
How is
McStay,
Lyndon Dykes?
Paul McStay, Stephen Fletcher, Stephen Naismith.
Mate,
Stephen Fletcher.
How is Graham Souness not in there?
he's not that type of role.
Well, he should have been
And
better.
also, they didn't play San Marino back in those days.
For me, my answer's done nothing wrong.
Oh, dear. Well, good to get back on the wagon there. Right, everybody. Thank you very much for listening to the Football Ramble preview show, part of the Acast Creator Network. Join myself and Jim for Ramble Reacts. Tomorrow we'll be recording after Scotland's big one in Cyprus, and of course that huge game at St James's Park that we all will be watching. The episode will be waiting in your podcast apps the first thing tomorrow morning. And remember to follow us on Twitter, now called X, TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram at Football Ramble. And don't forget to subscribe on your podcast app. There we are. The keys are in the lock. The weekend is open. It's international weekend, baby. Say goodbye, Andy.
Goodbye.
Say goodbye, Jim.
See ya.
Say goodbye, Vish.
Gordon Jury only scored 7 goals.
And it wasn't enough to get him in that list. There we are. Au revoir, my beef burgers. We'll see you tomorrow morning.
Cheers for watching another fantastic clip from the Football Ramble podcast. Make sure you click like on this video and subscribe to the channel, which means you will not miss a single upload.